Welcome to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson.
I'm your co-host, Pastor Wayne Moore.
Always a pleasure to host with you.
It is, my friend. You look well.
Thank you. You as well.
Yes.
Great show today.
Yes, we have the champion among champions.
Yeah, motivational speaker, and he is the CEO and president of Champion Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram of Indianapolis.
Yes, and I think he's going to give us some information about what he's doing in his businesses as it relates to being a black-owned business. And not only that, he's going to tell us what he's doing in the community to help the community become a better community.
Yeah, it's always good to hear that black-owned businesses are giving back to the community.
Yes, yes.
In fact, Mr. Falcon came out and talked to our young people for the Summer Jobs Program.
Did a great, outstanding job. I wasn't there that day, but I heard that he done an outstanding job, and that's what we need in our community.
Yeah, he told us nobody beats a champion.
No, nobody. And so we're going to hear what he does to remain undefeated.
Yeah, and we want to thank you, all of you all, in our opinion, are champions for tuning into the show, 5:30 on Sundays and Friday nights now.
Yeah, at 9:30.
At 9:30, just before the football games.
Yeah.
And we also want to encourage you to go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, like us on Facebook.
Because we're there.
Yeah, we'd love to have you follow us or be our friends. And we want to let you know that on October 28th, right here on WHMB TV 40, first ever
Sickle cell anemia telethon.
In the nation.
In the nation, in the world, the first time.
First time.
And we're doing it.
Yeah, 3 hours of raising money to help make a difference.
$100,000 goal for sickle cell anemia.
We'll be back after this. Welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson.
Co-host, Pastor Wayne Moore.
And we're joined today by President and CEO of Champion Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram of Indianapolis.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for the invitation, gentlemen. Greatly appreciate it.
You're welcome. Champion, out of all the other names
Yes, sir.
You could have chosen, you chose the name Champion. Why?
You know, as you notice in the majority of the stores that are out there, they're always named after the owner of the business. And I wanted our organization to be known for something other than that, and came up with the name Champion because that's the way I want all of our employees to feel, that they are champions, and also how I expect our customers to feel, like they've been treated like champions. Right. So, Champion Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram.
Yeah, and you all are doing very, very well.
Yes, sir.
Congratulations.
We have been blessed. Thank you so much. It's approaching 15 years here in the Indianapolis market.
Wow.
Phenomenal. And you have two dealerships.
Yes, I have another one in Avon.
How's that doing?
Champion Chevrolet, doing very well.
Good.
I've got two partners out there, and they do fantastic. And again, we've just been blessed with having the opportunity to grow the business.
That's great. That's great. That's great.
And very rare to have a black-owned dealership of such magnitude. How does that feel?
Well, it feels good but sad as well, because when I first came to Indianapolis, one of the reasons why I picked Indianapolis, being so close to Chicago, which is where I'm from originally, is because there were three other black-owned dealerships here.
Right.
There was Peyton Wells, Eric Dickerson, and Frank Kennedy. So I was the fourth, and that was exciting for me. Coming from working with Chrysler Corporation, I knew what a rarity that was in one particular marketplace. And then the recession came, and unfortunately, all of a sudden, within a 3-year span, I was the only one that was left. And today, I am the only one.
Yeah. So now we get into issues of sustainability. And for this show and for others who might be watching, what is the, I don't want to say secret to sustainability, but it's so important. How do you all do it?
Well, a couple of things. I think primarily with any business, it really is about your people, right? I mean, you have to have people that are absolutely committed to your vision and to long-term customer satisfaction, because the truth is a customer can go 7 miles down the road and buy the exact same vehicle at another dealership. So what is that, what we call that unique selling proposition? And it's got to be about you as the organization, what you stand for, and also about hopefully how engaged you are within the community. And I take a lot of pride in that. I take a lot of pride in doing things in the community to help those that are in need. And I think my employees appreciate that about being involved with an organization like ours.
Yeah, we talk about community.
Right.
One of the things in talking with you off air, you have a real concern about what's going on with young people. Of course, 16 to 24, they call that group of young people at-risk young people.
Right.
And you have a lot of concern about that. You came out, talked to the young people, motivated them, gave them the bracelet,
Yes.
the champion bracelet.
Champion Strong bracelets.
Yeah, to remind them that each one of them is a champion. What do you hope to see going forward with regard to trying to save our youth today?
Well, I think it's a very big problem, as you know. I think the bracelet, as I hand it to everybody, stands for two things. Number one, you never give up on yourself and your dreams, and number two, you never give in. Never give in to those individuals that may not want to support your dream, or not just support you. But with our youth, I think that they really need to see what success is. Mm-hmm. How can they achieve it if they've never had the ability to be a part of it or at least witness it? Mm-hmm. And that's why I think that it's so important for Black-owned businesses to succeed in the community, mm-hmm. because they can be role models to the youth to sit there and say, you can do this too, and this is what it looks like. And unless we get there, I think we will continue to struggle with our youth. And I think it's a community-wide effort. It's going to take a community-wide effort, mm-hmm. because I think that there's a lot of value mm-hmm. to the different Black-owned businesses that are out there and what they bring to the table. Mm-hmm. And I think it just needs to be recognized.
So we need to get away from the silo effect.
Yes, sir.
Because I see what you're saying when you say it's a community-wide situation. Too many times we find ourselves working with people who create silos. Mm-hmm. And when you get in those silos, there's thousands and hundreds of people
yes.
that are outside the realm of that silo.
Yeah.
And you got to be real careful, because we don't know if we're going to be able to reach those individuals, because that's what's happening right
mm-hmm.
now.
There's strength in numbers.
Right, it is.
Right?
It really
I mean, just like corporations today are seeing that there's real strength in having a diverse workforce.
Right.
Because you're able to market to everyone and understand where they're coming from and what their needs are. We as a Black community need to do the same thing. Mm-hmm. My wife and I, we like visiting Florida, and we recently visited Florida, and we were walking through a specific area of Florida, and we noticed in the windows that it had a menorah as a sticker in the window, right? And I was like, that's interesting. So I went to the next store, and I keep seeing these menorahs in the windows. And it was from a smoothie shop to a restaurant to a jewelry store to a shoe store. So it wasn't just that it was a kosher store, but it was identification that that store is a Jewish-owned store.
Mm-hmm. Community.
A community.
Working together.
Working together and saying, you know what? Work with us, we work with you. And I think that's why the Jewish faith has been so strong and really a great example for us to follow mm-hmm. as to what we can do if we work together to grow and better our communities.
Yeah. Do you see us headed in that direction?
I think that there's a lot of education that needs to take place and a lot of communication that needs to take place. Mm-hmm. Last year for the economy, $13.9 trillion was spent. Of that $13.9 trillion, the Black community accounted for $1.1 trillion, which is about 7.9%. Mm-hmm. Of that $1.1 trillion, only 2% of what we spent, went to Black-owned businesses. Only 2%. That's only 2 cents on every dollar of what we spent. And that accounts for $22 billion. If we just took it up 1%, that would be an additional $11 billion.
In our communities.
In our communities. What would that do for the jobs? Because the majority of the minorities that work for these businesses are minorities. So you'd see job creation. What would that do for the children in those communities that would be actually able to see mom or dad working for a Black-owned business, and they can actually say, you know what, I want to do that too? And what would that do for the overall unemployment rate, which is always about double of what it is nationally? It'd come down. So it's a win-win-win for everyone.
Right.
Yeah.
I believe it is.
That's the championship way.
Yeah. That's MVP
That's the
material.
champion way.
That's MVP
Yeah.
material.
Stay with us. We have much more to come. We'll be talking about the importance of black-owned business in our community, and certainly we have one of the foremost owners of black businesses here with us on the show. He is the president and CEO of Champion Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram of Indianapolis, and of course now in Avon. So we'll be talking more about that when we come back. Stay with us. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson.
I'm your co-host, Pastor Wayne Moore.
And we're joined today by Mr. Fernando Falcon. Again, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Let's drill down a little deeper with regard to black-owned businesses. One of the things I would like you to talk about is how do we get more black-owned businesses to support the black community and the community at large, in your opinion?
In my opinion, I think that there's, you know, and I brought this specifically just because I saw, I just received the Jack and Jill Botillion Militaire program, scholarship program book, and I saw in there that there's a few large corporations that are supporting this, but then when you get into the book and you actually look at the pages that are being supporting these young men, there are family members, grandmother, grandfather, but then there are the black-owned businesses that are in there, you know, attorneys, wealth managers, car dealerships, et cetera. And wouldn't it be wonderful if there were just so many of those businesses that would be in this book, right? But the truth of the matter is that there aren't that many. There aren't that many. And I think that we need to begin as a black community to ensure that what can we do to assist these businesses in growing? If they have one office today, can they get 3 offices? If they've got 2 buildings today, can they get 4? Because in all these cases, there's electricians, HVACs, plumbers, doctors, car dealers. I mean, all these different industries are provided, but we ourselves as a community are not supporting them enough to allow them to grow.
Well, we don't believe in the pouring back effect are too much. We don't believe in that too much. We just might as well be real about it. You know, if I can get mine, you know, I'll give you the conversation like I'm hoping you can get yours.
Right.
But I'm not going to do too much to help you get it. And so that's where we are today. And it's just not in our community. It's almost in every community. But it is, when you look at the Jack and Jill situation, it's no reason children have to sponsor themselves.
Right.
It's no reason for parents to have to sponsor their children when we have businesses that could pour dollars in every year. Dr. Deidre Lindsay, who's a member of my church, is the president of that, Jack and Jill. And I understand what she goes through as it relates to trying to keep this organization afloat. And because we don't pour back into our community the way we should. And then some of us do it for our celebrityism, not because we're supposed to do it, but we are supposed to do it.
Yeah.
That's where I am with that.
Yeah, and you know, and I mentioned this before, not in this segment, but you know, there's something called the dollar and how the dollar circulates within the certain ethnic groups, right? And for years, it has been the Jewish faith that has led that, and but they have been surpassed. The Asian community, that dollar circulates for 28 days before it leaves the Asian community. Then the Jewish faith, the dollar circulates for 19 days before it leaves the Jewish faith. And the African American community, the dollar circulates for 6 hours, right? Very, very short period of time.
Not even a day.
Not even a day.
Not even an 8-hour day.
Not even a work day.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Right? So what can we do to change that? And really it's about, again, education and communication, because if there's more of me. I wish that there were 5 of me.
Right.
I know what we'd be able to do collectively within the African American community.
So going forward, certainly we have our challenges. The late Dr. Ben Hooks in his book, The March for Civil Rights, he talks about the grocery store he opened. And we have federally designated food deserts all over Marion County, particularly in black neighborhoods. And back then, of course, he opened up a grocery store, but he said that black folks wouldn't come and buy his milk. Could that be a challenge that we have today? And from your perspective, in your opinion, how do we overcome that challenge of getting black people to support black-owned business and spend those dollars in black business?
Right. You know, it used to be that there was always that excuse of either the quality's not as good, the prices are not as competitive, or the store itself isn't as nice. I take a lot of pride when people walk into my dealership and say, wow, this is really nice. You know, did you expect something different?
Right.
You know, today, I think that just to be in business, you have to be competitive if you're going to be in business for any length of period of time. I would just say, give minority-owned businesses an opportunity. Just an opportunity. Too often times we just look down a phone book or through the web and just pick somebody. You don't know anything about that person. I guarantee you that in my case, and in a lot of the black-owned businesses, you'll know exactly who that owner is. You can establish a relationship with that owner. And you never know what can transpire because of that relationship. And I think that's very powerful. And I think that's a message that really needs to get out there, that it's more than just doing business with each other. It's the relationship that you're able to begin to foster with that minority business owner that can lead to so many things.
The fostering, though, Mr. Falcon, that's what is so complexing to so many of us. How do we foster that? You know, and so there's no playbook on that, on how to foster relationships to where we can point to this need, and 5 or 10, 15 Afro-American businesses will come along and say, let's deal with this, eradicate this, go to the next issue. We can't foster that kind of, it's hard to foster.
Yeah. And you know, you have to take it from somebody who came here 15 years ago, and I didn't know anybody here in Indianapolis. And you know, business is always about relationships, right? And one of the things that we immediately started was, and I say we because it was a small group of us, and it was a group called the Blessed Men of God. We were all black businessmen. We had an attorney, we had a real estate guy, myself in the car business, a wealth investment guy, we had a pastor on there. There were 8 of us, and we got together every Tuesday and we shared challenges that we had, and we helped each other out, and it actually grew to about 14, 15 of us. And I can't tell you how helpful that was for me being new to Indianapolis and to be involved in the community. And that lasted for about 4 or 5 years. And we still are very good friends, and we still communicate with each other.
That's great.
So you have to have, even when you're already in business, you have to have someone that you can reach out to as a mentor.
Right.
Because you're always going to need that.
Yeah. You never graduate the ideology of not having a mentor.
You never do.
We're almost out of time, but you have the blessing and benefit of having your wife working with you.
Yes, I do, and that's been an absolute pleasure. She's my high school sweetheart.
Wow.
I mean, we've been together since high school and all through college, and she's been my absolute rock. We have 2 daughters, Ashley and Jasmine, and Ashley's already working in the working world. She's 24 in Chicago. And my daughter Jasmine just graduated from Indiana University and going on to the University of Miami for an accelerated nursing program.
Congratulations.
So I'm really excited for her, and she's excited.
Congratulations.
Yeah, championship family.
The championship family, that's right. Champion Chrysler Jeep Dodge, 4505 96th Street in Indianapolis. We've been here for almost 15 years. And also Champion Chevrolet in Avon. And we love the opportunity to earn your business because nobody beats a champion.
All right, and with that, we got to take a quick break, and we'll be back
With the rundown. Yeah.
Welcome back to Real People, Real Voices. I'm your host, James Jackson.
I'm your co-host, Pastor Wayne Moore.
And what an exciting interview with Mr. Fernando Falcon.
Yeah, I thought it was a exciting interview. And what's so ironic about that particular interview is the community now, Central Indianapolis, had an opportunity to know who he is.
Yeah.
A lot of people didn't know who he is. He does a lot of things in the community. He's, I wouldn't say under the radar, but I say he does a lot of things that is going on in the community that people don't know that he has his hands on.
And his dealerships are first class.
Oh yeah, beautiful facilities.
Yeah.
And he has a great core there. And no wonder he has 2 dealerships now. I'm praying that he can do a 3rd one.
Yeah. And he talked about the amount of money that the possibility of being able to give back and to help build up the community, particularly the black community, which would help everybody.
Right.
With employment, solving a lot of different problems.
And not only just the black community, but even those who are in the Avon area, and he's in the Carmel area. It's just about employing people, period, and being an effective employer. And he seems to be that champion that he says his dealership is.
Yeah. We're looking for champions.
Yeah.
On October 22nd.
Right.
To help with the Super Sunday to benefit solving problems with regard to sickle cell anemia and raising awareness.
Right.
It's the first one ever
In the history of
the world
the country,
as
right?
we understand it.
As we understand it, and what's so ironic about it is these families that suffer with sickle cell anemia, they are financially strapped. They have issues that they need to contend with, medical bills. Our goal is to raise $100,000 to help those families and to help sustain the Martin Center going into their 50th year.
Yeah, and they're well deserving.
Yeah.
In fact, Martin University spawned
Yeah.
out of the Martin Center.
Right, and we want to thank Dr. Eugene White and his staff, Sister Janice, for helping us. We're going to have a great time. We want the community to participate. It's going to be a live telethon.
From the university.
Over 200 seats are going to be available right from the campus of Martin University.
And that's October 28th from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. right here on WHMB Channel 40. How cool is that?
That's cool. Don't forget Super Sunday now. We're asking all pastors to make sure you take a major offering to bring to that telethon or mail it in to the Martin Center. $100,000 goal. We want to meet that goal for our community.
In Jesus' name. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.